Hello, and welcome to session 4 of our Into the Wild campaign. This is a series which features a type D&D system with a focus on players versus environment and making overland travel more interesting. And I posted a link in the description if you want to check out the cinematic series, which we'll be using a lot throughout this campaign. All right, in our previous session, the players had found a large, obviously magical building. It seemed to be made out of gems, a large gem. It was recently uncovered. Whether it was excavated or pushed up from the ground is unknown, but it's a very large building, a couple 100 feet square with a massive spire on top and an isosohedron floating or slowly turning about it. A 20-sided object with symbols carved into each side. Inside this building, which you opened by using magic, you found a whole bunch of, let's call them stone golems or stone guardians, and they were guarding what looked like to be a gigantic ring, about 100 feet in diameter. Running through this area, the ring shrank to a finger size, which Caleth is now wearing. You also found, and he's able with this ring, he's learned a couple things have happened so far. He's learned that he's able to command these guardians, and that his skin has started to harden, or has hardened somewhat, and now has a slightly grayish tone. That's also improved your armor class by 1 permanently, right. And
reduced his speed by 5.
Your speed is your maximum speed is reduced by 5 feet. Yeah. You found a former occupant, perhaps, of this place, a female elf, very elderly, apparently dead, lying in repose in a bed. You found a plate and a pitcher, which refills with food and water so long as you are inside this building. It does not function outside this building. Yeah. You also found a book which seemed magical but had blank pages. Along with an ink and quill, there was a sword, a dagger, some clothing, and a set of boots, I think. I think that's correct, what you guys found. Mm-hmm. So, when we start off, I'm going to get you to describe your characters. It is about 6 or 7 in the evening on the 6th day since you've set out from the city of Ember, and you guys are, I believe you would, I think you were still debating whether to spend the night inside or outside, but we'll say for sake of argument you're just outside this building having this discussion. Yeah. And I'm going to go left to right on my screen, and you can describe a little bit about your character, and also then maybe a little bit about what you think about the current situation, what's going on. So Pei, a female half-elf sorcerer,
warlock,
is going to go first.
I'm playing Pei Rightmap, who is a cartographer first, and then technically also a warlock. She is really interested in the magic items, but also doesn't want to sleep inside of a magical gemstone. She insists that they have to sleep outside. And yeah, that's about all she thinks about right now. She really just wants to focus on figuring out how the magic items work.
Okay, and sorry, Kaelin is next. Kaelin Aldrith. Alex.
Okay, yeah, Kaelin Aldrith is the sort of the financier and leader of the expedition. Originally one of exploration and adventure, but it seems to have turned into something a bit with perhaps a bit more reach. He's feeling with the something affecting magic, it seems, and the appearance of this strange dwarf Ku, who has seems to have knowledge, some knowledge about this. He's alarmed by the change of his skin, this ring which is now affixed to his hand, and he's at this time, sort of going through a crisis to sort of reevaluate what this is about, because this isn't what he had intended, and so he's gotten very quiet all of a sudden, as he's sort of pacing outside the door in front of this place.
Okay, and Vicus, DBJ.
All right. I'm playing Vicus the Jack. He's technically a wood elf barbarian, but he's a plains running tribalist, and the heat is really rubbing him raw. The fact that he hasn't found any evidence of his people, and he really wants to find something that connects that to him has also put him on edge. And he had a little heart-to-heart with Ku, who hasn't specifically said anything to him, but he's kind of jealous of Ku and how well put together he is and such. And right now with everyone else, he's aware that they are somewhat knowledgeable about magic, but he's not very comfortable around these crypts that are out here in the desert, and this undead that are walking through the desert. But he plans on making amends for his. He's more or less introspective at this point, because he knows that they're far more knowledgeable about these things. So he's pretty much trying to figure out how he can make it up to everyone else, considering that he thought he was wronged and no one else thinks he has been.
Indeed, it was Ku's sort of visions that led you to find this place. So Steve's playing Ku
Yes.
Lotus Blade. Go ahead.
So, yeah, I'm playing the middle-aged adventuring teacher from Marshall University in Connecticut. No, that's Indiana Jones. My bad. Yeah, so I am Ku. He's a dwarven paladin from the volcanic region north of here, who is being driven on this quest by a need to discover what's going on with magic in the world, because he feels that the gods have more or less asked him or forced him to do this. So there we go.
Okay, and that's where we'll start. So you guys were wondering about this female elf, what her role in all this might be, and wondering about this building and whether you should spend the night inside. The temperature does seem more regulated inside than out, for sure. So that's where we'll begin. So you guys haven't set up camp yet, but maybe you're getting a little bit hungry. It's around supper time, or maybe a couple hours past your normally when you'd eat. And the sun's starting to get low, and you're considering where to camp. So we'll go from there.
All right. Well, while we're sort of in the middle of this, we're all sort of standing around thinking, humming and hawing. I have my valet Albold help lead the camels down closer to the temple, at least, so we can have them within sight. And we're basically, as I understand, kind of this bowl of sand at the moment.
Yes.
As the sand sort of spread away from this thing. So it'll go, even if we decide not to sleep in it, being down in here will at least give us some protection from any winds and other things and so forth. And it'll be a lot harder for the camels to run off from here too. So I'll help them get those down. And just as we get to the bottom, I say, well, if we're not going inside, we should set up camp at least. It's getting late. And we can decide what to do about this. Perhaps once we're...
Can we not go inside, sir? It would seem more safe.
Well, perhaps there are dangers inside. Obviously, he notices I look a bit different. So there are
He
magics
isn't
at
common. He's
work.
a good servant.
She just shows up with
Very
a little
good, sir.
moisturizer. Sir, would you like some moisturizer? You're looking rather pale.
So he says, very good, sir. And he walks away, maybe slightly disappointed. He goes over to tend to the camels.
I know how he feels. So let's get some food and water in our bellies, and then we can sit around. Perhaps all this will seem clearer to us when we're feeling a bit better.
What
So,
what kind of food are we bringing, or did we bring with us?
We brought mostly human rations, which consists of things like dried meats to some pickled things. There's what was it? Some like beans.
Yeah, things like
there's-
dates too, probably. Stuff like that. Figs.
It's all hard to
No raw fish.
yeah. Yeah,
Pei is going to approach
not much.
Aldrath and say, with this magical thing, can we replenish all of our stores of food, make more nuts? Put more food on the camels?
That is a good question. Did
Clearly we can't bring this with us, but
yeah.
at the very least we might be able to use this as a place to resupply.
Yeah. I suppose it depends on the nature of the magic. I'm somewhat lacking in the arcane lore. But trying to remember, last time did we test? I know we said we can produce food or water outside that, but did we try to take some out, like after producing it within?
I don't think so.
I don't think we've tried that yet.
All right. We'll
That's a good idea.
once we set up camp, we'll experiment. It's the thought had crossed my mind, but I'm somewhat skeptical that it would be that easy. This seems rather bound to this place.
Oh, don't be a pessimist. Of course it'll probably work, maybe.
I actually give him her a little smile for that. And that's the best we can ask for at this point. So I'll begin to set up camp. I'll have Allbold help me with some of the tents, and again we'll set up kind of like a semicircle, near the maybe about 20 feet away from the door to the temple or the tomb, whatever it is.
So is that like a temporary, like you setting up just a little tent to have supper, or you decided that you're all camping outside?
I think at this point we'll it's probably safer to stay out. I mean, we were already prepared to sleep in the
You don't got to
desert.
convince me. You got to convince them.
Yeah, Pei is not willing to sleep inside. There is probably nothing you can say to convince her. It's a strange room made out of gems that came out of the sand and could sink back into the sand at any moment with cursed jewelry on the inside. She's not sleeping there.
No. And perhaps if I hadn't been so affected by the magic myself, I might disagree with her. But at this point, I'm not terribly keen on sleeping in there myself. So but I say as I'm sort of setting up, I say, so Vicus, what do you suppose with this? Obviously there's cooler in there. There's protection.
I'd say we stay outside. There's no need to bother the dead. But if I really don't feel like sleeping, I'll keep watch if no one minds.
No, not at all. Are you comfortable doing that?
Yeah, frankly, I haven't felt the need to go to sleep at all, to be honest with you.
Okay. Well, I certainly won't turn down a night's sleep. And if you wish, we now have two camels that are unburdened, so you can perhaps ride one of them tomorrow if you'd like to nap along the way.
Nah. Just give me a water skin, bite to eat. I'm fine.
I kind of paused looking at him for a minute, trying to figure out what's going on with him, and I just decide, if it's important, he'll tell me, and I nod and I step away and go back to the tents. Mr. Koo. Would you be able to put us together some sort of fire?
Yes, I can do that.
Your wood supply is running low. You did not bring enough wood to get all the way across. It's too heavy. So I'm going to say that I'm going to have one of you, I don't care which one, even the odds. If you roll an odd number, this is your last night of wood.
I guess we'll let Koo do that.
Any die at all.
I rolled a 2.
Okay, so you have one more day's.
dying.
You have one more day's wood left.
Okay. Well, there's at least one chair in here we can break and turn into firewood.
True, and a table.
I was going to say, and I was thinking about the furniture too.
There's a bed if you want to just dump her out.
I mean, she's dead and stiff. She probably burns like a good piece of wood. It's all right. But yeah, I'll set about. Are we decided we're sleeping outside?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll set about making a fire then.
Tonight?
All right.
We don't need a fire to cook our food. I think we should save our wood.
You will need a fire for heat, though. I mean, it gets very cold tonight.
Yeah, we'll just make a cuddle party. If we're going to be in the desert for longer than 2 more nights, we're going to be cold a different night.
I can't imagine Koo cuddling. No, I see what you're saying, but I think the fire in this case is more than just for cooking or heat. I think we need to sit around and we have some important things to discuss tonight. This is it feels like some sort of turning point in this expedition, and we need to make some hard decisions. And we're all gonna have to have our say and have input, because it's too much for any one of us to decide. This is important.
You're just being melodramatic because you think you're going to die. You're not going to die, Kaylin. You're going to be fine.
I'm not being... Look, just... I kind of throw my hands up and walk away and exasperated.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, no. So I'm just going to finish setting up.
All right. So with Arbald's help, you've set up the tent. You maybe start a little cooking fire. Go ahead.
Pei is going to have Phaedric sit on the plate and tell Phaedric to think about mice.
Nothing happens.
I mean, I'd try this inside.
All right, you're going to go into the temple. That's interesting. You're going to go into the temple, and you're going to place the owl on the plate and tell the owl to think about mice. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep, that's right.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to say that a warm, cooked mouse, obviously dead, appears on the plate.
Faye's gonna tell Phaedric to think about another mouse, and she's gonna eat this mouse.
Pay is going to eat the mouse?
Yeah, why not? Mice are delicious. Have you ever had a mouse? They're pretty good.
Okay, so I'm going to have you make me a Constitution roll.
I mean, it's a mouse, not a rat.
I get you.
That's fine. I'll make a roll. I got a total of 11.
Okay, so you probably don't want to eat another one. When you do this, nothing happens the second time you do this.
Okay. I'm going to tell Phaedric to think of what's something else that they eat? A squirrel.
Okay. Again, there's nothing happens.
Okay. I am going to take the place, and I'm going to think about a mouse.
Okay. Still no effect.
Did you just use our last one for today on a mouse?
Maybe. I don't know. Shut up. I'm experimenting.
Oh my.
Okay. I'm going to try and study this and keep doing stuff like that for an hour because that's how you identify magic items.
Yeah, it's going to take you overnight or the identify spell.
No, it takes an hour.
I'm telling you what it's going to take you.
Yeah, that's this one. Let's see.
So you're inside. You're staying. So Pay is sitting inside this floor while you guys cook a little meal. So while that's going on, what are you guys doing?
I'm kind of trying to focus on the food, trying to focus on relaxing, and I'm lightly fuming because part of the reason we're out here is because she didn't want to be out here, and there she is sitting inside the tomb, playing around with the plate. It's like,
in fact, I believe she was rather adamant about. There's no
Exactly.
way I'm going in that temple.
We're out here because of you.
No, she's not going to sleep in the temple.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying what's going through Kaylin's head at the moment.
She can't protect herself when she's asleep.
As he kind of keeps looking up at her, and just shake, kind of putting his jaw together, tight, and shaking his head. A lot of work. But yeah, so I'm going to prepare some probably some stew with using the pemmican we have, some of the dried meats, pour a little bit of water in, some hardtack, and make like a trail stew, and then start tipping it out into the little wooden bowls as the Tual is sitting around. And
so I'm just gonna go ahead. I was going to ask this. So the three of you that eat this, Pays inside, how much do you like it, this hardtack stew? How much do you enjoy it?
That's a good question. Well, since I'm the one making it, I might like it a bit more, just because I have to. But yeah, I mean, it's quite. Just to kind of describe it, it's probably pretty salty. I put some other herbs in. It is kind of chunky with the chunks of hardtack, which is sort of dissolving in it. The pemmican itself, which is kind of rendered fat and has bits of other stuff in it that's sort of dissolved into it. So it's not the best stew you've ever had. It's
Also,
definitely more edible.
These ingredients have been trekking around the desert for 6 days. So.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, that's what the design do. Pemmican is like that will last for years in a pack. So I'm not as worried about that.
Yeah,
But it definitely has a. I think Kalen likes it in a way, but not because of the taste, but because it's what this journey requires. He likes that. It makes it feel more like what he sort of expects. I think because he still has this sort of vague romantic idea of this adventure and this journey. So I think for him, it's kind of like, this is what you're supposed to eat when you're roughing it, kind of thing. And so for him, it has that kind of aspect to it for him, anyway.
Okay, so what about Ku and Vicus? How do you two guys feel about this meal?
I think it friggin' sucks. I can't stand it. A live rabbit, a frog maybe, a boiled turtle, that's cool. But this stuff, I can't take it. I can't. I think it's kind of getting on my nerves. And the fact that he insists on making a stew with it is just like, I'd rather just walk around the camp.
You probably had it
not get on Vicus's nerves.
Look, catching live food that's good. Drinking from a stream, fresh honey or something like that, a rooted vegetable or something. That's how you live. This stuff it doesn't just suck, it blows. Yeah, I don't know.
How about Ku? Sorry, if you're done.
I mean, it's fine. It's adequate. He's not getting riled up over it,
Okay, so Vicus, when you're eating it, then you can't help but remember the nice warm roast beef that Ku chucked on the floor while inside.
Yeah.
Hey, you might still be in there.
No. In fairness, it's probably in the stew to make matters worse, because Kalen picked it up off the floor, claiming like the 10th century roll.
So, that's right. That's right.
So to make matters worse, you're probably sitting there looking at this nice roast as Kalen's cutting it up and then plops it with these horrible sounds into this stew full of hardtack and sand.
Well, if that's true, that you're going to learn something from that. If you have this roast beef and you add it to the stew, you notice that it smells off. I'm going to say you notice this even before you start putting it in the stew. It smells a little off.
Well, if I notice that, then obviously I kind of give it a smell.
Yeah, it smells like it's getting to the end of its time.
Yeah. Do I think does it seem safe? I'll take a little bit of it in my mouth, kind of do a little taste test. Kind of smell a little bit.
Safe is it sounds like it's past its prime. Prime, you get it?
All right. Well,
is the magic linked to the crypt, that it is reserved only for those that reside in and maintain their life inside? That the magic, what you've all mentioned, that the magic is fading, or it's kind of maybe the crypt within the crypt, and the magic of the crypt is the only safe location. I don't know.
Yeah.
A place to weather the impending doom when magic completely falls from the world?
Well, I'll put the little metal cover on the pot of stew because you want it to really, you want the hardtack to soak up the pemmican fat.
Got it.
So to get that real rich taste, make it savory. So I take the but I take the bit of roast.
Check a couple of hooves in there.
Right. Lips and assholes. So I bring it to the roast into the tomb or crypt or temple, and I go up to Pei and say, does this smell bad to you?
Pei's gonna smell it. Does it smell bad to Pei?
Yep.
This came out fresh off the platter. What was it? Probably an hour ago, maybe 2 hours ago.
Couple of hours ago.
Probably.
Yeah, 2 hours ago.
Can I make a check to see if it's still safe to eat?
Sure. How about a medicine check, I guess? It's the closest I can think of.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I was thinking nature, but medicine probably makes more sense.
I don't know.
Well, if I can do nature, then...
I'm going to go with medicine. I mean, it doesn't exist in nature in this form.
Yeah.
Then I only got a 9.
So safe to eat is questionable. If you eat something past its expiry date, how safe is it to eat?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
it's questionable to you.
Yeah, red meat's a little more
if
forgiving
you eat it, there's no guarantees either way. Let's just say that.
Pei's going to tell Kaylin that it's probably still safe to eat, but don't eat too much of it.
Hmm.
Do you trust her?
No.
Probably not.
I don't say it. I don't say it though.
Pei is overly optimistic this entire time.
Perhaps your owl would partake. I know there's not much hunt around here.
My owl doesn't eat cooked meat.
Ah. Oh well. And I'll go back out and I'll with this meat still in my hand, and I decide not to trust it, so I'm gonna give it a kind of haul off and give it a hawk it way up into over the sand dune.
Oh sure, you succeed.
And I'll go back and tend my delicious stew.
Okay. So you guys have this meal. About an hour goes by. Pei, do you want to join them, or do you want to try something before you join them, or?
No, I want to play around with the thing a little bit, but I'll probably get bored and come back out.
Okay. So you rejoin the group in this tent. They've finished dining, and
yeah. So, but I wanted to talk to them about all this. So
feel free.
As we sort of wrap up, I break out the hookah, and I set it up, and I just take some of the regular tobacco. I don't get any kind of the special ones.
And, those are just flavored. They just have different flavors.
Yeah. So I get one of the nice flavored ones, and as we I light it up and get it set up, and we sit around, and I pass, take a draw and pass it on. Say we have.
Often a hookah has multiple hoses, so you don't need to actually pass it around.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I was thinking a portable one might only have one, but either way. But we are sitting kind of near the remnants of this little fire, which is probably little coals by now. It wasn't a big fire. And say, well, this is, we have some decisions to make. Now, I know when we set out on this expedition, the purpose was to simply explore, make it across the desert, follow in the footsteps of other great travelers, and now things seem to have gotten to perhaps more dire. And I'm at a loss. I don't know enough about this magic to know what is happening. Ku here seems to have some insight, perhaps, but you didn't sign up for this. You didn't. This wasn't the bargain. So I want you to know, first of all, that there'd be no shame in wanting to go back or deviate from this. I personally must press on. This mystery is too important, I think, to ignore. And if we decide to move on, we need to decide what this place might mean, and what part it might play, both in its effect on magic, if any. I'm assuming it does, for if Ku's visions are to be believed, and if it's related at all to the abominations that wander these dunes. So I suppose we should hear from each person their thoughts. Vicus, I've perhaps known you longer than the others. I know this has been hard on you.
Arbold coughs.
I don't hear him, or I do. No, it's not really clear.
As he's as Kalen's addressing all of us, I've kind of, I'm a little nervous about speaking up. I say, Kalen, I've always respected how much you've learned in those books, but I really think you should pay attention to Pei's counsel. This mission, this place, and I kind of take in the whole of the desert, whatever. I say, you've told me about being blinded about the things that I'm seeking, and this place may be one of those places that might affect your judgment. And I would see that you are not so blind as to stumble into something so foolhardy. And I kind of point at the ring on his finger.
I sort of nod to him, not just didn't acknowledge that I heard him. I don't. And I say, well, you may be right. Clearly, this is, as I said, didn't turn out as I had planned. As I suppose no adventure does.
Well, maybe we should. I mean, all of you talk about magic, but the reality is that we are in a place that is, for all purposes, lifeless except for us. And survival is going to be our thing. The magics that you guys, all of you possess, it may not exist any longer, depending on how long this journey goes on. We're going to have to learn and practice some practical skills. But, that's what I say. I mean, if that's okay with you guys.
I don't think you're wrong. What about you, Pei?
Well, I've been thinking about it, and if I was an ancient advanced civilization, I would build things like this as rest stops for my people. And if I had one of these things, I would keep a person there to maintain it. But if the magic is dying, maybe so is that lady. Maybe it's not a horrible cursed tomb. Maybe it's just like a waypoint for people to travel to. So there's probably more of these, and we should look for them. It would be a pretty important thing to add to a map, for one thing, and for also a good place to, resupply.
That could well be true. Seems odd, though. We've never heard of these before. I mean,
nor seen them on any map.
Right. Although there have not been many who've crossed these deserts. There have been some, and it seems this would have drawn attention before. I don't know. Mr. Koo.
Well, I would say, but Vicus's people used to roam these places all over, and now we don't know much about them. History can be lost.
That is true. And Mr. Koo, your thoughts? You were led here, obviously. Your visions brought us to this place. Do you have any insight into what it might mean in the greater picture?
No. Insight I do not have. But I do know that this is not the end of my journey. I must go beyond here. This is but a piece of the puzzle. And like a puzzle, until we know what the picture is, we may not understand the pieces. But something is strange. This is a very large temple set up for one person. Like a librarian, guardian. I cannot help but think that she is in the state she is, waiting for something else to happen. Something is magically holding her here. If it were just a body, why not place it in a sarcophagus or crypt or grave? Instead, she is inside on a bed with fresh food and giant stone guardians.
Yeah.
I think this is simply an eye of a storm. Magic seems to work better here than it does outside. There is less disruption or interference. But I cannot tell you what that means. The stew, though, is pretty good.
The smile. Thank you. You're a kind guest, if nothing else. But if this is indeed a piece to a greater puzzle, number one, how do we know what about this place is the piece? In other words, is it the symbols on the shape above us? Is it the clues inside? Is it this book? Is it what is the piece that we're looking for here? For if we leave without it, if we decide this is a bigger puzzle, and we leave this place with either the wrong piece or without missing the piece entirely, do all our future discoveries and journeys become for nothing? I'm not saying you have the answers. I mean, I understand you're not in control of these visions exactly, and that for whatever reason they've been sent to you. But right now, you're all we have to see beyond our own little circles.
No, I understand. This temple, if that's what it is, has raised more questions than answered. For instance, why was it buried under the sand, but so easily accessible that a slight bit of magic revealed it?
It would make sense in a world where magic was rare, that only spellcasters would have access to it. If it is as old as we suppose, then perhaps there was a time when there was less magic.
Or more. Maybe it was meant for everyone to use.
No. If it was meant for everyone to use, it would be more accommodating. When was the last time you went to an inn that only had one chair? Or a classroom that only had one table? Or a temple that had 40 rock monsters guarding it?
Yes. Not many inns have I been attacked by rock monsters. Attacked, yes, but not
only
by rock
only
monsters.
once before. My people.
I kind of look at Vicus as I say this, like, not like, kind of almost in a sort of with your permission, but I'm going to do it anyway type of look, you know?
My people do tell of a time before the brother and sister granted magic to the people. And during this time, only certain elevated individuals had access to the magical arts. It was not until the brother and sister had their very large war that the gifts were given to the people. It is possible that this temple is that old. It could predate magic being common. But if that were the case, I would think that my people or Vicus's people would have had some story about places like this, even if it were just a legend. There is often more truth in legend than we realize. But I have never heard of anything like this. But it unnerves me that the pot of water and the plate worked so easily. It bothers me that when we entered, there was already warm food waiting for us. And as we have seen, the food does not last very long. It almost seems, perhaps, that time does not happen the same here.
And he points at the temple.
As it does here.
And he points outside.
Did we notice any time discrepancies? Like, since Allbold didn't go in with us, it's possible he might have noticed,
Almost 95 years old now.
Yeah.
What happened to you?
I've been waiting here a long time.
You can
Wait 20 more minutes.
There's actually a singularity in the center of this, which is causing a time dilation effect.
Not that you noticed, at least, not that you're aware of.
Well, if we are to move on, then Ku, do you have any insight into where we might go next? Our plan was to cross the desert to the settlements beyond, and then perhaps into the mountains. If we have no other recourse, I would continue on that path. Obviously, with our resources, we're limited on what directions we can take at this point. We can't simply veer off into unknown directions in the desert without resupply.
Pardon me. So Q will stand up and ladle out some more stew, and then sprinkle some finely ground black powder from a small pouch into it and mix it around.
Yeah, I hate to ask this, but might it be possible for us to spend 2 nights here? It would give me an opportunity to see how the bowl works inside the temple, as well as how it works out here.
Let's see.
There are a few other tests, measures that we can attempt to figure things out. We can, both of us, try our magics inside the temple to see if there is constantly less interference.
I'm not as concerned about the food. We can last for some. We can ration the food and extend it.
We at least know. Well, if you are not feeling sick now, and Pei, if she is not feeling sick, then we know if the food is consumed in an appropriate amount of time, that it does not rot. So, as you said, food is not really a concern.
Well, it could be. We do have the camels to consider, and although that platter might suffice for us, I don't think we could feed 8 beasts with that.
Oats, perhaps.
Maybe the camels can do it. If we can convince the camels to think about it.
What? I'm not sure you understand how a camel works.
Sure. Okay. I'll tell you how easy it would be. You put the camel's foot on the plate and then hold up the food it already wants, and it will think about the food that's in your hand, and it'll appear on the plate.
I say, well, by the way, did you tell us that it's not producing food anymore?
I mean, it's become apparent we can only use it a little bit.
Yeah. Well, again, that's another concern too. We might be able to, like I said, we might be able to take care of us.
It might only be usable once per day per creature.
Maybe.
That's what I imagine.
Yeah.
I'm kind of getting a little restless, but when Ku said he wanted to wait like 2 days, I'm kind of like, I've already kind of made up my mind that we're just going to wait 2 days. And so I hear them talking, and I kind of stand up, and I'm like, okay. And I go over to Ku and just kind of like grab his shoulder, kind of roughly like as if to say, yes, you're right, and I hear you. So like there's no hard feelings and nothing like that. And I kind of like I'm looking at the rest of them, and I'm wondering if they see the same thing I see, because from my position, Pei, it's like when I saw her use her magic, it seemed like the ink was kind of like inside of her or something. So I'm thinking like all these guys are like real, not just worried about the magic, but about the fact that they're gonna, like, they might die or something like that. So I'm pretty much like, that's why we want to wait, because they're so worried about it. Because I'm ready to go.
Oh, you just wait till I tell you the story of my people over this fire tonight, and why I'm so personally concerned about this magic thing.
All right. Okay. So we're around the fire. I'm just going to grab, I've got like 4 javelins, and I've kind of thought of this idea. I'm going to grab some scraps of cloth and try to tie them to the ends. And then when I go on patrol, I'm just going to like stick one in the sand, and then, you know, walk away from the group and stick another one in the sand so that I can see the javelin that I last left. So it's kind of like a pathway out. And then I'm going to repeat that method. So I walk like 4 paces, 4 eye lengths out, and then come back, and then maybe 4 lengths out in a different direction and come back when they get ready to bed.
Right. Okay.
But
So let me just give a paint of a bit of a picture. So you're in this sort of bowl. And remember, a lot of this sand came from being displaced off of this building in the first place.
Yeah, right.
So you're surrounded by about 50-foot mound all the way around. It's almost like you're in a soft crater of sand. Mm-hmm. So out would be uphill. I mean, you got a little bit of flat area, but then it's uphill in any direction you want to travel.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and doing this, I mean, I'm letting them see what I'm doing, although I'm not explaining it. But I'm not very good at even hiding well, even if I had a choice to hide it. But so that if anyone wants to,
are you putting them in a line going uphill then?
Correct.
Okay.
So it's a soft line. Like I'll walk away from the camp. I'll look back and see if I can see the camp. Then I stick a javelin in the sand, and then I walk further away from the camp. And if I can see the javelin, I stick yet another javelin in the sand.
Sure.
And then walk up the crest just to see if there's anything out there. And if not, I kind of look around. I'll probably spend a half an hour sitting there looking around. I'm not taking any of the camels though. I'm on my own. And then if not, then I'll trace my way back and then go in a different direction and do the same thing.
The only thing that's going to block your line of sight is literally the crest of the hill. When you get over the top, obviously, the ground is going to block the other ground.
Right. And I'm doing that so that I have a way that between the distance from the lowest portion of the crater and the crest of the hill, that if they can't see me, they could follow my path to get to me if they want to, and then I can follow my way back. But I can't see the top of the crest. So I want to get to the top of the crest and just see if there's anything out there.
There's a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah.
Sand.
Yeah.
Sand.
I'm gonna dig my my hurdy-gurdy off of the one of the camels and begin sort of playing that as a
okay
just kind of with some light music as we're just kind of sitting there as the little coals wind down, and we take some more draws from the hookah.
Is this going to be like accompanying music for Ku's story?
Yeah.
All right.
This is like I said, hurdy-gurdy, which is like a wheel fiddle. So but I kind of tone it down to a slow sort of this kind of monotonous little grind ahead, and then the other keys sort of following along with the story, just and I try to I'm a bard, so I know my stuff. So I'm sort of adjust the music as he talks to match his story and the tone of it, that sort of thing.
Okay. Make me an animal handling roll.
Okay. Character. 13, 17.
Okay, so at least one of the camels occasionally sort of tries to sing along.
Shut up, Cam.
I'm also gonna probably impart a bit of magic into this as well, because why not? Was it Song of Rest? So it basically gives you an extra D6 during a short rest. But in this case, I'm just kind of using it to, make us all feel kind of relaxed and, not over sleepy, but just
Okay.
feel calmer. Bring the tone down, get everyone at ease.
I'd like you to roll a 20-sider, please.
Sure. The gritty blows up. 9.
Okay, so there is this, I guess you're almost used to it now, this delay, like a 2-second or so delay before the magic begins to take effect. But it felt a little bit like a struggle getting the spell out of you, getting it to sort of complete. Felt like you were struggling a little bit.
Okay.
So you start playing this music.
Yep.
Does Koo want to tell an accompanying story?
Sure.
You mentioned you brought it up. It was your idea. So.
Players speak for. I don't have a damn thing prepared, but I'll give it a shot.
He brought it up.
So
yeah,
yeah. Is Vicus back or is Vicus out right now?
Well, I'm assuming he's back. It's only 100 feet or so up to the crest.
All right.
He only had 4 javelins.
If Koo starts to talk, if I hear him, I'll make my way back. I mean, I'm kind of interested in that as well.
Yeah.
So as I sort of I'll be talking kind of like preambling, and then as I see Vicus get back, I'll catch his eye. You asked me about my people, and I think at this point it is appropriate that I share with all of you why this mission to understand and perhaps repair the magic is so vitally important to me. At the beginning, when the Great Father decided that the world needed something more than himself, he wanted something to love him. And this is where the brother and sister come from. He took his right arm and removed it from himself. And from this right arm, he made the brother. The brother is wise. He is strong. He is honest. And he removed his left arm. And from his left arm, he made the daughter, the sister. She is sinister. She is the darkness to the brother's light. She is weaker, but more clever. After he had done this, before he understood the desire of the sister, he removed himself from the world. He went and napped beneath a great tree, knowing that the world was in good hands. As time went on, the brother and sister
visited their father as he was sleeping. They brought him food to sustain him. They talked to him while he was dreaming. But this was not enough. They both grew lonely. They took it upon themselves to create more things. Amongst these things are the dwarves, the elves, man, little half-men. Dwarves created by the brother, elves created by the brother, man, orcs by the sister. Both of them decided when they created their peoples that they would be allowed to make decisions on their own. And this is why there are evil dwarves and good men.
And he'll kind of look over at Kalen as he says that.
But this grew into a struggle. The sister came to the brother and asked him, why do we not kill the father? Take all of his power. And the brother, being a respectful son, told her that this was not possible. He told her that he would stand against her. This angered her deeply. It was during this time that she struck out against his creations. A great war was fought in the mountains to the north. One of these mountains still spews the anger and blood from this fight. She would have succeeded in killing all of the dwarfs, and perhaps all of your people too, Vicus. But in a moment of love and desperation, the brother removed his heart and forged it into a great stone. In doing so, he linked your kind and my kind to the stone. It has given us long life. It has also made my people stubborn like rock. And your people left with a great desire for fulfillment, as the brother is now in desire for fulfillment of having his heart back. But this singular magic stone is perhaps why we are alive. If we were to lose our connection, if magic was no longer possible, then we, like the roast beef, might rapidly sour, become rotten, and die. I have seen signs of this that worry me. People from my village now seem weaker and slower. Men of only 200 are no longer able to work the fires and anvils. And this is not common. It was when my mother took ill that I finally heard not just the brother, but all the gods, I believe, call out for help. Because if the magic connection is broken, it has ramifications.
He kind of looks at himself like to make sure that's the right word.
Yes. both ways. If the gods cannot reach us with magic, we cannot reach them with prayers. They will be like a tree in the desert.
And he looks around.
Notice, there are no trees.
So the music winds down. You see, perhaps to your surprise, Arbold is sort of staring at you wide-eyed, obviously engrossed in what you're saying, and the camels have gone respectfully silent.
And you think this is what is at the heart of the problem?
I think that there is a sickness in the magic of the world, and that this
And he points to the temple and then kind of out towards the desert.
is just a symptom.
To hear the wind blowing.
Hey, this mountain that he speaks of, have you heard of anything like it?
Yes, the port I grew up next to was people from all over. I've heard of mountains that spit fire. It is my intention to someday go and see this mountain and map it out, but I know very little about it. I would be interested in seeing it, but I can't confirm anything Ku is saying. And his description about how people came to be disagrees with my own.
Well, many myths are written to explain real things.
But regardless, if magic falters and fails, there are a great many things that will go with it. Many people rely on it.
The world will change irrevocably. Well,
the way Ku described everything, I'm completely convinced that's exactly how it is. Like, I don't have. I hear Kaylin and Pei talking, and it's just like fades in the background because I'm like I actually feel like I can like picture it, and I'm also thinking that I've realized why we're all here, and it's kind of depressing, but I feel a little rejuvened because Kaylin's the one that's going to lead us through this, and Pei is going to her life blood is going to leave a map, a legacy of where we've been, and Ku is like going to be our heart, as you know, so we don't leave the gods behind, and it's going to be my job to usher us when we die. So I've now I kind of realize why we're here. So yeah, we're going to die at some point.
and perhaps Albo will chronicle the whole thing.
Very good, sir.
I feel like I have a purpose now. Like, okay,
right now.
make sure you guys live long enough to live through this. Yeah,
You're gonna follow us around until we die. That's your purpose.
Might not be as long as you think.
You're right.
Yep.
Well, then, Ku, do you feel the need then to still stay here for 2 days?
Ku said he needs to stay here for 2 days.
Yeah.
I assume he means one extra day.
Yeah, tonight and tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Well,
It is possible that tonight I will sleep inside. I wish to use the water from the pitcher to fill my bowl.
We should. I think if we all are able to partake of each of us is able to partake of the water and food provided by this place, then I can perhaps see what I can take some of our food that we would have used, and perhaps it won't be enough for the camels entirely, but it might spread it out a bit.
All right.
Okay.
You have your day, Ku. Let's hope it yields something profitable. No, profitable for our journey.
So, what else do you want to do tonight? Sorry, are you going into the temple, Coop?
I'm going to go into the temple and get that magical pitcher and pour water from it into my bowl. And then I'm going to roll
before you
out
give
my
me the
little
details,
sleeping mat.
just 1 second. So the rest of you, are you waiting outside?
Yeah, we're going to get ready to go to bed. I think Vika said he was going to take watch.
That's fine. So I'm going to say that while Ku is in there, and I'm going to switch back to that in a second, you guys maybe restart the fire. The sun is set now, and the temperature drops quickly as you've discovered in the desert when the sun sets.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ku, inside you get the pitcher, you get some water from this pitcher. Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to kind of at the feet of one of these or two of these large stone guys. I'm going to roll out my little straw bed mat and my little woven grass bed mat. And I'm going to sit there and position my bowl in such a way that in the reflection with my my torchlight here, I can kind of see the gem of the ring, or where the ring. I'm sorry, where the ring would have touched, up on the ceiling.
Yes, the base of the spire.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And just kind of ponder over all these different symbols, and I'm just gonna do that till I grow tired, and I'm gonna sleep.
Okay, I just want you to elaborate a little bit on what you're thinking about, like what sort of a vague idea of the kind of information you're trying to determine. Just give me something vague that's connected to what you just said.
I'm not sure what he's trying to determine, but he's making connections, right? Like, so this ring had a crystal on it, and we're kind of in this giant geode of a crystal. Is what this building seems to be made of, and
right,
he's seen the sun and the moon symbols, and so he automatically assigns that to the brother and the sister, and then being behind the mountain makes it even more sort of grossly related to him, and he had the vision before he started traveling of being on water. So, I'm kind of pondering back through the symbols and looking for one that has to do with water. And what would be logical that if there were 20 of these locations, is there somewhere that would be near my home, something that might stand out to me in a bedtime story or a drunken man's rambling that seems to fit, if not a quote unquote temple of magic, but this is kind of a diamond in the rough, if you will. It's literally a gemstone out in the middle of the sand, and that seems to be like a sort of natural progression, right?
Okay.
So is there something that he can think of? And I think as he starts to think about it, he gets drawn more and more to the volcano because this place is super inhospitable. And the most
Right.
inhospitable place you can think of near home is inside the volcano.
Okay. All right. So you're concentrating and you're staring at this thing. Do you do anything with the bowl or the water? Are you staring into the water?
Yeah, I'm
How does it
watching
work?
I'm watching the reflection, and as I'm attempting to sort of almost like biofeedback, I'm feeling my heartbeat,
Mhm.
and as I do, every time my heart beats, I'm tapping the bowl to send these ripples across it,
Okay.
and I'm counting in between them so that they slow down. But it's that sort of, it's kind of dual purpose, right? Because it's the idea, that sort of philosophical idea that a small impact can cause all these ripples, which maybe he's a small impact that will ripple out and
Okay.
fix this magic thing.
I gotcha. So you stare into this bowl and you do this. Let's call it a prayer and concentration. And as has happened before, you drift off into a sleep, but it's a sort of dream-filled sleep. And you get an image. It looks like a mountain that is on fire. The entire mountain is ablaze, on fire. And it's you get a feeling of familiarity, though you don't know of any mountain that's on fire. And you are looking at this from maybe an eagle's point of view, high up, looking down. And you come swooping in towards this fire. And as you get closer and closer, you can feel a fear of being burned, and you're urging this bird you're inside to turn and not go into the fire, but it proceeds and goes right into the fire, but you're not burned. And you proceed deeper and deeper, and now you're at the rock itself, and there's like a large crevice, maybe several hundred feet up the side of this mountain. And the bird flies right into this crevice, and it's still on a downward angle, and it goes down, down, down into the mountain, and the rock is all aglow with this burning, and it's lit up from like and rock, and he eventually even plunges into the lava. So he's like within this liquid lava, and he seems to come to a bottom which is flat, like it's not a gradual bottom as if going into the earth, but a flat bottom. And there is a figure there of a dwarf, and the dwarf is looking up at you in a kind of, let's say, peaceful expression. And then you awaken.
So, we are to go to the mountains.
You say to yourself.
Yeah, I say to myself, and then I'll, not wanting to disturb anybody in their sleep, I'm just going to go ahead and kind of roll over and go to sleep.
In the temple?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So those of you outside, I want you each to roll me a 20-sider.
Okay.
Okay. I got stuff I want to do tonight too, though.
And Koo, I'm just going to let you roll for Arbald since he's outside.
Sure.
5.
Okay.
I got 14.
Good.
Fike has got a 13.
You're good.
I rolled a 16 for Arnold.
Okay. You're all good. I'll tell you after the session what you're rolling for if you want. All right. So morning
Arnold,
comes.
I need to
and-
snuggle. Let's go.
Hey.
Well, I think Paige said she had some stuff she wanted to do.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, there's one thing. Pay's going to get that book from Kaylin, and
okay.
she's
Yes.
going to open it to the first page. And using
Yes.
prestidigitation, she's going to make the Elven rune for knowledge on that page. And
Okay.
casting thaumaturgy, she's going to make her eyes glow with the golden color of the high priestess of her religion. And then with Druidcraft, she's going to make the cry of the owl, which is the creature of knowledge, and then she's going to try and pull the magic out of this book so she can tell what it does.
Okay, but only the first thing you said appears on the page, right? The
Yes.
others is just gone. Okay, so you complete this. The symbol you put down there appears on this page. And then as you concentrate on it, the whole page kind of shimmers and then vanishes. And it vanishes even like you're maybe even holding the page between two of your fingers, and it vanishes from there. So it's not just a sight, it disappears. It's not just a visual thing. It is no longer there, the page.
All right, I'm going to spend the rest of the night trying to push and pull energy out of this to try and study it.
Okay, I'm going to have you make an Arcana roll, and then we're going to call it morning.
Okay. Oh, I rolled a natural 20. Hell yeah.
Okay,
so
20. Come
Your soul
morning
is sucked
time,
into the book.
you know that this book is very powerful, and if it was made by mortals, it was mortals at the peak of their ability. You get a sense that this book is timeless. It's at least 1,000 years old. And as to its purpose, you know that the page still exists somewhere. But I'm going to say that's all you know for now.
That's fine. That's all I'm going to do tonight. Study the book.
Yeah, this knowledge comes to you like over the course of the evening, and then by the next morning. So it is the next morning now. Wake up without incident, with one exception. I'm going to send you a private message there. So you guys awaken. You look around. Ku is not there.
Pay's going to wake up
tracks.
and ask you guys if you know where Ku went.
The last you saw, you went into the temple, if you want to call it a temple. That's your guys' label. You've also called it a crypt, a tomb, and a library. So.
And a waypoint. That's what Pay still thinks it is.
That's correct. Oh yeah, forgot that one.
It is all of them and none of them, as Ku would say.
You can call it anything you want, just don't call it late for dinner.
That's it.
I sniff around for him.
You don't
like
smell him. As I said, the last place you saw him was in the temple.
Am I assuming the door closes when someone enters or exits the temple after using a touch of magic to open the door?
I'm not going to confirm or deny that. I will tell you that when looking over the temple, the door is open.
Okay. With a hand on the hilt of my short sword, I'm going to make my way towards the door.
Okay.
And take a look inside and in the door, and then walk my way in.
Okay. So both Pei and Keelan wake up with some additional knowledge, which you've both been made aware of now. You can respond or react to that as you see fit.
Wait, where can I see this at?
I told it to you.
Oh, that knowledge.
Yeah, that knowledge. Only you have that knowledge.
Well, Pei does plan on sharing that. Her primary focus is to go find out, where the heck, is Ku.
Yeah, let's just not quite get there yet. You've just woken up, and you're still clutching this book, and your head is now filled with this knowledge.
I wake up with this knowledge. I am going to decide that I've heard a legend of a book that is used that when you write in it, the page that you write on goes to a different book. And then in that book, if you write in that book, it comes to this book, and I've decided this is a magical book for sending messages across great distances.
Okay, and do you tell this to Caitlin? He's the only one present at the moment.
Yeah, I walk over to Kaylin, and I say with my usual, I had an idea, so I am absolutely confident this is what it is.
Yeah, with blind certainty.
And I say, I think this is a book where you write messages, and it's a linked pair, and any message you write in one book shows up in the other, and vice versa. I don't know for sure, but that's the only thing I think it can be. That's the only thing I've ever heard of that's like this.
Did you receive a message?
No, and I didn't send a message either. I just marked it with magic, and the page was transported away from here.
The physical page was?
Yes.
Huh. That is interesting.
So I am going to write a message and transport it. But immediately after that, I want to go find Ku. Ku is more important in this book. This just won't take much time.
All right. So meanwhile, at the building, Vicus, you look around this building and you see Ku lying apparently asleep on the floor on a straw mat at the foot of a couple of these stone guardians. He sort of got his arm curled around a bowl, and he's just sleeping gently.
All right. At first I'm thinking that there's something wrong, but he looks rested or peaceful or something. And then when I stare at him, I see his chest, the natural breathing of someone sleeping, like their chest rises and falls and they breathe. And I just take a seat, like cross leg, one leg under me, the other leg's like kneeling, and I just take a seat and watch him.
Okay, so he awakens after a moment. Perhaps he sort of senses
I
your
don't disturb.
Okay, yeah, but he still awakens.
Oh, okay. I don't wake him. I allow him to wake up naturally, but I'm kind of like watching over him a little bit.
If you want to say something or respond, Ku, go ahead.
No, I'll sit up and stretch a little bit. Good morning.
I kind of watch him closely, and then I kind of stand and stretch with him. Just to make like I'm kind of nervous. Like, is he all right? He's kind of looking in his eyes to make sure he's cool.
So, it seems that we will need to go to the mountains.
That's cool.
Inside the volcano. It will not be easy.
Could I have wandered in time to hear him say that we have to go inside of a volcano?
Or they can wander out. I'll leave it up to you guys.
Oh, we'll pay his head to go inside anyways.
I'm just saying, choose either way. You guys can regroup any way you like. Just pick one and let me know.
So as we're sitting there, I have the water pitcher near me from filling the bowl. So, I'll pour 2 cups of water, and then I kind of smile and I lean forward and I put my hand on the serving tray,
Mhm.
And I imagine.
I'll say you do.
What's that?
Go ahead. Go with it. Go. Yep.
Oh, so I just after hearing how it works, I imagine 2 large servings of this dwarven spiced porridge. It's hearty porridge with bits of spiced meat and dried fruits in it. And if it shows up, I'll hand one to Vicus, and I'll eat one myself. And if it doesn't show up, then I just sit back nonchalantly, like I wasn't attempting to do that.
Okay. It shows up, the first one, and then if you want to do it again, you can try again. But 1 serving shows up.
Okay. Wow. Stingy. Doesn't mind giving us a whole roast, but 1 serving of porridge. All right. Well, yeah. I'll pass that one to Vicus, and then I'll try again.
Yep. Okay. So another serving shows up.
So right about the time Pei walks in, then I look at Vicus. So much for the only working once per day.
I sniff it, my nostrils flare, and then I take a big chunk of it, or helping of it. I'm sorry.
Seems very fresh.
Mm.
I'm kind of like wolfing it down and maybe even making a little bit of a slop of it. And as I notice that I'm doing it, I wipe the stuff that's in my beard off with my sleeve, and then I kind of, with that sort of like jocular glint in my eye, I look at Vicus. It's not bad manners. I don't want it to spoil.
It is as good as you ever remember it being.
Wow.
Just as they're eating this from outside, they hear Kaylin yell from a distance, "Breakfast!"
The camels are on fire.
The camels are on fire.
Faye is going to approach him, and she's going to say, "Ooh, what's that? Can I try that? Is that from your homeland? I've never had whatever that is. It smells good, though."
Yeah. Yes, by all means. And I'll hand him the still mostly full bowl.
Okay.
She's just going to take 1 bite.
Well,
Like, she
tastes
legitimately
nice.
just wanted to try it.
Tastes good. It's fresh.
you might be a little bit grossed out when you see the meat chunks laying in it, but whatever.
Yeah, probably.
You're a vegetarian, right?
Taste.
Well, you've had 6 days of not fresh food.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess when Kaylin yells, well, if you will excuse me for a few moments for my prayers, I will meet you outside. And whether or not they leave or not, I go and kneel onto my grass mat and remove all of my clothing waist up. And
Okay.
it's like it's a bow in like all 4 cardinal directions, or at least as close as he can ascertain by guessing. I would assume, with it being a habitual thing, that he's got it pretty down pat with the traveling.
Sure.
And-
I just want to say, as you're doing this,
Yep.
You've heard the rest of the other 2. You've heard Kaylin call out, and then you see Ku kneel and start undressing. So, what do you want to do?
Breakfast. Oh yeah.
I'm getting naked.
Run. Out of the way. No.
What? You don't eat breakfast naked?
Oh boy, out of the way.
She doesn't know what Ku's doing, but it seems private, so she's going to leave.
Okay.
And I'm actually waiting, and I kind of like stand in a Ku's periphery, and I take off my jerkin and stuff to join him.
Okay. So carry
I've
on with the
seen it.
description.
Yeah.
Yes. Go ahead.
Good. Ku.
Oh, so yeah, so it's it's in Dwarven, but if you were to speak it, basically, when he bows and prays to the north, it's to the Old Father, and he is thankful for the son and the daughter, And the way he says the sun, you could interpret it either, astrological or biological. And then when he gets to the east, he is apparently speaking with an old ancestor, and thanking him. And if you've heard this more than once, it's each time it's a different deed that one of these ancestors did. So kind of like, thank you for the mighty way you fought at Low's Stand. Were you not to have done that, many of our people would have died. It is because of you that I draw breath, and for this I honor you. And so he does that, and then he passes south, goes to west, and that's kind of like almost like a letter home, to his aging and sick mother, and his brother that he has, and eventually he turns back south, and with his eyes closed, he prostrates, and this is to the sister, and it's more of a prayer that is, thank you for not killing me in my sleep. And it's, because of balance, shadows are necessary. But
Cool.
he appreciates not having his throat slit to, this point. So, and that is the much shorter portion of the four directions. After that, he stands back up and puts his robe, or his under robe, back on.
Okay. Meanwhile, outside, Pei joins you, Kalen. And, preparing what for breakfast? The same thing you had last night?
Yeah.
Same thing we had every night.
As I see her approach, I say, "Good news! There's still some stew left over. I've added to it and put in some more pemmican, and it should be quite good."
Pei kind of crinkles her nose, but she eats around the meat.
I can't see what I seem to. Kalen seems to be in a better mood this morning. Maybe it was a good night's sleep. Maybe it was a new sense of purpose. But he says, "This really is quite good. It seems like the more it sits, the better it gets. So whatever you don't finish, put back in the pot, and we'll have it next time."
Pei gives Kaylin a like, "You're crazy" look, and then she smiles at him and says, "Look, Kaylin, you didn't die. You didn't turn into stone or anything. I told you you'd be fine."
Although you can't help but notice he has a gray tinge to him now that he did not have the other. Yeah.
I say, "Well, feeling a bit stiffer this morning, but I'm sure it'll go away soon enough." He says, not very convincingly. "It'll be fine."
You can make me a perception roll, Kaylin.
Probably not great. 8.
Okay. You instinctively try to remove the ring again, and it doesn't. And it's slightly harder to distinguish where the ring ends and your finger begins.
Okay. I kind of look at it. If I see Pei sort of like looking toward the ring, I just like, clench up my hand to hide the ring, and I just go about seeing to the food and doing other things.
Okay, and I'll go say, unless you guys object, you're joined by Vicus and Ku.
Just slightly. While Ku was going through his ritual, was trying to get like the dwarven words, but I just can't. I don't have the base, and the tonal inclination to do them, and I really can't remember it, but I'm kind of trying to learn from him, and at least his physical actions.
Okay.
If not the languages, but other than that,
Sure.
nothing else. I'll follow him outside.
Okay. All right, so you're back outside. As soon as you step outside, the two of you notice the heat. Like it's definitely hotter outside.
Yeah, and we can kind of, you know, if you want, we can sort of say we finished, you know, packing up our gear. You know,
aren't you staying a day then?
All that stuff. I thought he got what he needed.
I don't know. It's up to you.
I don't know. Okay.
He said he wanted to stay one more night.
Huh?
So, well, seeing you sort of approach, say, how was your night?
It was perplexing.
Well, I slept like a rock.
Aha!
I know, huh? Right, huh? Anyway. Oh my. No. So, any insights into our future?
I believe that we will need to head for the mountains.
All right. Then I guess that will be our journey, which is good because I didn't relish the idea of having to make a new plan for our journey at this point.
Are you curious as to why, Caleb?
No, I mean he does his vision thing, and I don't need to know.
Interesting, considering you didn't even want to take him along in the first place, and now that's interesting.
Right. Well,
Okay.
this place has made a big difference, and also his current situation has sort of altered his. It's now no longer a matter of curiosity for him. It's taken on more. What I'm looking for, more personal
Purpose.
features, I guess. Yeah.
And while Kalen has an unmistakable gray tinge to him, the other three of you are noticeably more tanned than when you set out, despite the fact you're using cream every day. So,
Pays
is the plan to?
tan?
Yep.
Well, yeah. Well, I'll ask Ku if do you feel we need to? You still feel we need to stay another day, or should we press on then?
I do not know.
Well, I suppose we.
We have. I have tested the magic inside the temple. Oh. And magic outside the temple seems to have been the same everywhere. So it would seem that no matter where we stop tonight for our camp, I will be able to feel the difference. So I do not think it is necessary to stay here.
Oh, well, that's good. To be perfectly honest, I'd much rather be on our way.
How are you feeling?
Strange, to be honest. But it's. I kind of flex my hands a bit, feeling sort of the different texture of the skin as it kind of maybe has a little bit of grind to it as it moves. So, yeah. I won't lie, it's disturbing, but if my fate is indeed tied to this purpose, then we press on. I've perhaps put my fate into your hands more than I'd hoped, but I'm counting on your I'm counting on your guidance in this. Now,
How many of those stone guardian things were inside, roughly, ballparkish?
50?
50?
I simply hope that the stone guardians inside were not the last 50 people to wear that ring.
well, the thought had occurred to me though.
But you are awfully short.
They would have been 50 giants.
Well,
And as of this morning, I haven't gotten any taller.
no. And also, nothing inside the temple was oversized, so not for giants.
Well, and if all else fails, I think we can always resort to dismemberment if necessary.
Does anyone still look injured, by the way, at all?
All your hit points would have recovered, and
Right.
you would have gotten back when we hit dice.
Yeah, and I also did the Song of Healing anyway as well.
Right.
So
All right, cool.
if anyone needed any extra. So yeah, so I guess then we'll pack up, pack our gear. We now have 3 camels who are unburdened. Well, they're burdened with personal gear, but no longer with, food or water.
Just horrible memories.
Yeah. And now they could be food themselves if necessary.
That's
But,
what they remember.
yeah. So I'll make sure that that Allbold gets one of them. We'll put him on Ferb. That's number 3. and
Okay.
the others are open if I'm gonna walk, but if Pei or Lycus or any of the others wish to ride, they're available.
Pei is going to take the platter and the pitcher and put them back
Mhm.
where she found them.
Yeah.
And she's going to, in her mind, focus on the food she remembers being on the plate and have it focused in her mind before she touches the plate. But then she's going to touch the plate and hope that the food that she originally ate appears.
Good. It's excellent. It does not. Nothing appears on the plate when you do that.
That's weird because I've eaten that food. And then she wants to go do one more thing. She is going to go look at the woman again, and she
Mhm.
is going to. Well, my camera keeps refocusing. That's annoying. She is going to put magic in her hand, or like prestidigitation or something, and touch her to see if she
Okay.
wakes up.
Okay, you do that. She does not. However, her body does not feel cold.
I'm gonna try and gently shake her.
There's no response. Aside, yeah, she's comatose or dead, or there's no sign of life.
This is very disrespectful.
I don't think she's dead though.
No, I know. I'm not in there. I'm just.
She also, as I said, she appears to be extremely elderly. it's not like you see no signs of all at light of life, but you also don't really see any signs of like after death. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, plus she's warm, so
Yeah.
room temperature anyway. She's not like cold.
well, that's all she was gonna try. She's gonna leave now.
Okay. Yeah, you join the others outside. You guys set out. You climb this ridge, and you haven't gone far. When looking back, you can't see it because of the depression and where it is and stuff. You continue on. I guess the last thing you could see would be the isosohedron turning. You continue on for a couple of hours. I'm going to have everybody make me a Constitution roll. This one, please.
9.
5.
Okay. The DC is 5, so you just made it.
Nice.
18.
You're starting. Okay.
16 total, unless it's
Okay.
So I look over, just real
good.
quick, sorry, Rob. I look over at Vicus and I see kind of the way that maybe he's riding a little higher or walking a little taller with the camels. And I go, see, you are doing well. It is not so bad.
I nod to him, like kind of give him like, oh, thanks. That's very kind of you. Thank you.
Oh, Rob, there's one thing I forgot I had wanted to do, and
Sure.
Okay.
That was win the game.
Yeah,
Oh.
I
right.
wanted to win the game.
Thanks for playing, everybody.
No, I have proficiency with navigator's tools, and I have that stuff with me. So what I want to do is to the best of my ability with the stars plot the location of this and share that information with Paige, so we could mark it on accurately on her map. I'm sure she would probably want to do that anyway, but I figure we could have collaborated on that just before we
Sure.
before we left.
Sure. I'm not even going to make you roll. Basically, from the planned route you were taking, it was about a half a day south off of that route. And so you, as best you can guesstimate, you mark, make a mark on your map. Sure, absolutely.
Well, hopefully it'll be a little bit of the guesstimate. I mean, we have the an astrolabe, and where we take
Yeah,
hopefully we have a pretty good idea. Yeah. Right. Cool.
Within a degree.
Right. Right. Cool. So yeah.
So, no problem. So you guys press on. Pei and Kalen, perhaps a little bit more so than the other two. You didn't roll as well. You start to get the heat is bearing down on you, and you can remember how tiring this heat is, and the day just gets hotter and hotter. And so you guys travel for about half a day into high sun, and I'm going to have you make me each another roll, please. This is going to be a con roll. The DC is now 6. Actually, it's 11 because you're at high sun, so it's increased by 5.
Yeah. Is by the way, is this sort of stone manifestation having any kind of effect, pro or con to this, or does
No.
it?
Okay. No.
I think I failed another one. Rolled a 6 plus total.
I didn't make it. I didn't need to.
The DC is 11. Anybody who failed,
Yeah,
you're going to gain a level of exhaustion. It's just from heat exhaustion. So the heat is wearing down on you. As I said, you're starting to look very tanned. Skin's a little dried out, and that's even with the fairly generous application of creams and protectants, which otherwise without would be much worse. Didn't have those things.
Right. What as we sort of pause for a moment, as we're sort of feeling the heat, and I'm getting exhausted, and so is
Vicus.
Vicus. I stop, and I'm going to use my magic. I put my hands together, and I'm sort of anticipating the delay now in a way. So I begin to sort of adapt to it, and I concentrate begin the conjuration. Move my hands, and as I sort of move them across my body, you see this kind of heat shimmer sort of come off this new stony flesh. I'm casting my enhance ability. I'm gonna enhance my constitution.
Okay, I need you. What is your spell casting stat attribute? Is it charisma
it
for a
would
bard?
be charisma, yeah.
Okay, so I need you to make a roll a d20. Add your charisma modifier. The DC is 10.
Sure. All right. Oh, that's nice. Probably did okay. Yeah, I get like 22. So
Okay. Yep. So you have a level of exhaustion, right? So this is an ability. This is a saving throw, I guess. So
yeah, I don't think it'll take this won't take away my exhaustion, but it would help prevent future exhaustion.
Right. So in fact, as you guys stop, are you going to stop for like a lunch?
Yeah, it's probably a good idea.
A brief watering.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to have you guys roll me another con roll. This is for sun blindness.
Okay.
Yes.
I got 10.
15.
10 is what you needed.
Ooh, 18.
Okay. Yeah, I got 11.
Okay. So none of you go blind, but you're very aware of the glare of the sun off of this. You stop to have as long as you made it fine. You stop to have something to eat and a bit of water, and you press on maybe a little bit more slowly. This high sun, it's particularly hot and beating down on you. You've reached roughly the point where you turned off the path. Go ahead, Pei.
When we rest, I'm going to try and study one of these robes. Because Pei's convinced everything that she took out of there is magical somehow or another, since everything she studied was.
Okay. So you take one of these robes, and how are you studying it? You just like running it through your fingers? Are you wearing it? Or?
Yeah, I'll probably try it on. And
Okay.
I mean, I don't know exactly how people normally study magic items to try and attune to them, but she is going to cast the same magic she cast before, because that's how she personally learns magic items. Purposes of them.
All right, so you put this robe on. It doesn't appear to add your heat. It's very thin, light. It's like it's silk-like, and you don't know what material it is. And I'll say that the only magic you sense of it is that possibly like some preservation magic to keep it intact. It's not. There's no loose threads on it or anything like that. So it's like new.
That's good. That's she's gonna keep that in mind.
But it's definitely magical. Like it's a magical thing.
She's gonna tell the others that the robes magically keep themselves put together.
You guys can choose to believe that or not.
They're very thin and comfortable. And there was a total of 3, and she's wearing 1. So if anyone wants one of the others...
There was 4 plus what she was wearing.
Okay, then there's 4.
I'm okay for now. I pull the brim of my hat a bit lower because of the additional sun, but I my wide brim hat, so kind of shade my eyes a bit more. And we take a minimum. We do a fairly quick rest. We're just doing 10 or 15 minutes an hour.
Sure. The hot sun's again just beating down on your high sun right now. So you carry on.
I use a camel for shade.
Sure. I'm going to have you I'll let the one you can choose, Keelan. You or Pei can make me a survivor roll. This will be navigation.
Okay.
I'm gonna let if Pei wants to do it. I'm gonna give Pei advantage on the roll.
Yeah, I'll let you do it.
All right.
The DC is 10.
Well, I got way more than 10.
Okay. So yeah, you're as sure as you can be that you're heading in the direction you want to.
I'm also kind of considering too that she and I are probably consulting regularly. Because I have navigation skills and she's the cartographer, so probably like when we rest, like that peak over there, that might be and then we go back and forth.
Okay, so you guys proceed on into the afternoon for a couple of hours. I'm going to have you make me one more con roll each for heat exhaustion. The DC is 7, and then I'm going to tell you what you see.
Did you say the DC was 7?
7.
Okay, yeah. Let me find that.
It's 16.
I am good.
Which one more you said?
The DC is 7. It's con.
No, it's just one roll though. Just one Constitution. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So I'll tell you what you roll. You roll for heat exhaustion every 2 hours and sun blindness every 4 hours. You proceed on. Again, the heat is beating down on you, and while there's no mechanical penalty applied here, it really heat is really kind of getting to you. Even Arbald is noticeably sweating. You see what looks ahead now. It's still maybe a mile or 2 off. It's hard to judge exact distances. You see what looks like
A what?
a lake.
Oh, a lake.
Ooh.
I say, I've heard of these. My mentor spoke of these mirages, these eerie tricks of heat and light that can deceive us. I suspect this could be that.
How far off our course is it?
I agree. So let's go to the water first, so we can avoid the hallucinations.
I kind of look at him oddly for a moment, but then I just shake my head. It's not worth it. I go to Pei. I say, "Can your companion? Is there any chance? Is it he or she? By the way, I forget."
Phaedric is also female.
Okay. Could she perhaps go take a look for us, see if this is worth visiting?
Yeah.
It's more or less in the path you're headed. I mean, you can easily go around it if you want.
Okay.
The desert's huge. It's
it's
not like a Great Lake in size. It's small.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So we'll just keep going straight then.
I'm still since that was mentioned.
Send her ahead if you want.
Yeah, I'm gonna send her ahead. See what she sees.
Okay. So you send her ahead, and you're like looking through her eyes. Is that how this works? Do you have that ability, or she just sort of relates to what she sees?
I can only do that if she's within 100 feet. I'm just gonna send her to go look at it and come back.
Okay, so you guys continue to walk in that direction.
Yeah.
You send your owl flying off ahead. After about 10 minutes, it comes back, and it caws. Doesn't caw? Hoots, sorry. I caught myself. It hoots at you, and all the translation you get is whole and animals.
Oh, I see.
Oh.
She's gonna say there's animals at the water, and the water's real. But more importantly, there's game. We should hunt them.
That could be that could be good news for food. All right, let's. Did she see any predators, or are they prey animals?
The,
I'm gonna
the
ask.
entirety of the message was the entirety of the message was whole and animals.
I'm gonna ask her though if she saw anything that would eat her.
No response.
All right. Well, I guess we'll.
Okay, I'm gonna reply with she doesn't know what the creatures are, but regardless, if they're all there together, they're probably not eating each other, which means they're probably not predators.
Yes.
Yeah,
True enough. All right.
Not necessarily true. Water holes attract prey animals attract predators. They are all there together quite often.
Oh, do you know a lot about mirage lakes?
No, I know common things about hunting.
Well, we'll be within range soon enough to see for ourselves. We'll stay back until we make sure it's safe.
I am not saying not to go.
Where is this Mirage Lake you guys are talking about?
He points out the lake and says, right there, the lake.
Right, there's a lake. And then there's another one?
No, that lake that you see, it's Mirage Lake.
It's not
All
important.
right. I'm going to go off to the lake if anyone is opposed to me scouting ahead.
I'll go with you.
Sure, just don't scare the
You're
animals.
sort of walking in that direction, so
Yeah.
scouting ahead
Well,
would
we
just be
Let's.
speeding up, I guess.
All right. I have no problem heading in that direction at all. I hate this desert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll keep our path. We'll keep going towards it. But what I'm going to do is, I'm going to retrieve my bow and quiver of arrows from one of the camel, and I am going to take a good lead out in front of the group. Kind of just move on a little bit ahead, and just have my bow ready in case there is some kind of predator or whatever.
Riding a camel, or are you walking ahead of the camel?
No, I'm just walking ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, how close do you guys want to go, kind of thing?
Well, I guess. We're gonna hit. Let's put it this way: we're gonna head for the lake unless we can see something more clearly. Like if we, as soon as we get to the point where we can see any kind of, creatures or whatever,
Right.
then
So-
we can reevaluate.
When we get within 100 feet, I'm going to have Phaedric fly above and look through her eyes to see what's going on over there.
Let me tell you what you
we should
see at that distance first, and then you
Yeah,
can
in 100 feet we
choose
should be able to see
your actions from that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as you get closer, you can see that it does appear to be a lake, and maybe when you get within a few hundred feet, it looks like there's something moving around the edges of the lake, and then when you get
I'm being
to
dumb.
about, all
I
right,
have eyes of the eagle. I can see things really, really far away.
Oh, nice. Do that then.
you can look through your crystals your lenses if you like.
What do your pubic glass eyes see?
When you look through, it looks like you can see some bones scattered here and there around the shore of the lake, and then you can see what maybe looks like camels drinking at the lake, or at least skeletons of camels drinking at the lake, and maybe some other similar creature. He can see this level of detail. You guys just see movement around the lake.
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna kind of gasp and stop and say, she is gonna gasp and stop and say, the animals there are all dead. Some of them are moving around even though they're dead. They're skeletons.
Sigh in exasperation. No water then.
I'm going to say, I'm not even going to make you roll for this, Kaylin, but this reminds you of Bone Lake.
Mm-hmm.
Only if it's Bone Lake, it's not quite where it should be on the map. It's a good 3 to 5 miles, or maybe even 10 miles off where your map says it is.
Okay.
Or we're off by that much.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I feel pretty confident based on the two of us working together, and the map is old. So I'm going to point this out to Pei. I'll say, if this is Bone Lake, let's see your map. So
She will give him the map that she's been working on, and she'll indicate on the other map that that's where Bone Lake should be, and she agrees that it's off by quite a ways.
Yeah, so either we're off, which I don't think we are based on what we saw before, or this map is off, which is potentially more likely. This might be a good correction for you to make.
Or there's more than one Bone Lake.
That's possible too. Well, we can make a note of it, and we can double check our once we get close to the mountains, we should be able to tell how far we are off course or on course.
Kaylin.
On your old map, there are numerous lakes mentioned. Bone Lake is the largest, and it is the only one at least marked on your map that's called Bone Lake.
Yeah. Size-wise, does this match up with that?
Yeah. And there's also quite a number of partial skeletons around the shoreline that are not in motion.
Right.
Pei's going to say, hey, Kaylin, are the stories of Bone Lake indicating that the skeletons are actually dangerous in any way? I mean, they're skeletons of camels. Camels aren't that mean.
Well, I don't think there were any stories of animated skeletons, though, right? They were just bones of things that died there, pretty much, wasn't it?
You can reach that conclusion if you like.
Yeah. So, as far as I know, they were the bones of dead creatures, but there was no record of them moving around. Though, considering what else we've seen, I'm not surprised.
I'm going to say Pei. Oh, go ahead.
I'll
just going to give Pei some information first, and then you can volunteer or change your mind. Pei, you also notice 2 human skeletons. They're kneeling at the edge of the lake, perhaps trying to do something, although you don't see anything in their bony hands.
Pei's going to say that there are also undead people there, and that those are abominations and need to be destroyed.
Relax with that. Their souls need to be released. What is this with? There's nothing they've done.
Their souls are imprisoned in their skeletons. How would you like it if your soul is forever trapped and you could not reach the afterlife?
You're right. Let's just have some respect for them.
Well, if we're going to destroy these things, then we should leave the beasts back here. We should bring them no closer.
I'll volunteer to lead them away or distract them if necessary.
The camels mean, or
the undead that is still active. I don't know. I've wrapped my face and dismount from the camel, and because I don't even want to take the camel with me, and I want to get closer and circle around, so that if there's any, if for some reason they can sense something, it'll be me, and then if they decide to, be aggressive, they'll come after me, with the hopes that their backs will be turned, or at least their flanks will be turned to our other party members.
Now, how far are they? How far away? Let me rephrase that. How far are we away from them at this point?
100 feet, if
Okay. That's fine. So what I say? Well, let me see what I can do from here. Maybe no one has to get that close. And I kind of get down to one knee, and I take out an arrow, knock it in the bow, and I whisper. I kind of lean in and I whisper to the feathers of the arrow, as I cast the cantrip True Strike, and I the bow creaks as I pull the arrow back to my cheek, aim towards one of them, and loose.
Okay, I just need you to know what target you're aiming at. You can see.
I'm going to go for one of the
3 skeletal camels, 2 humanoids, and even like a couple of maybe small lizard-like skeletons. Plus, there's lots and lots of other bones that are not animated. But all of these things are sort of lapping at the water. They had
definitely just the human ones, because we don't really care about the other ones. Okay, so I get advantage on the attack. They should be within range for a longbow. And yeah, so all right.
Make a 2-hit roll.
Yeah.
AC is 10.
Yeah. So I rolled an 18. So.
Okay. So roll me some damage.
All right. 7.
Okay. Pitches over sideways. Some of the bones break apart. It pitches over sideways, falls to the sand unmoving. It looks like something falls from its hand.
Okay. Okay.
Just like into the sand by it.
All right.
It's unmoving. The other one doesn't even react. None of the other skeletons even react.
Okay. So I will do the same thing with the next skeleton, the human skeleton or humanoid.
So don't even roll.
Okay.
So same thing happens. It just falls over.
All right.
Breaks apart.
If we're within 100 feet, I'm going to cast Eldritch Blast at the camels.
Okay. So one by one, you shatter the bones of these camels, which
just to be
fall
clear,
apart.
you don't mean our camels.
Why not?
Just to clarify.
Yeah. So the bones of these skeletal camels fall apart. Some of the bones fall into the lake.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
He says portentously.
Do you guys want to approach after having destroyed anything moving?
Yeah, once everything's done moving, I mean, I certainly wouldn't mind. Oh, that reminds me. How many of the human skeletons were there again?
2.
Okay, so I'm going to mark up my arrows then. Okay, yeah. So as soon as there's nothing more moving around there, yeah, we will cautiously move forward. Although I will have all bulls stay back a fair distance with our camels. I don't want them near the water.
Okay.
I don't want them thinking that they can drink from it.
Very good, sir.
That sort of thing. So Thank you, Allbold.
He nods, wipes some sweat off his brow.
Pei's gonna hustle on over there and look back at Kalen, who's strangely not moving as fast, and say, "Come on, hurry up, let's go."
Alright, so I'll have my I put my bow away and I just have like over my shoulder and I just have my axe out now and
Okay.
close.
So you can maybe see like a critter like the size of your hand, the skeleton of a critter the size of your hand, maybe lapping at the water. That's the only thing moving left. And there's also lots and lots of bones as well, incomplete.
Wow. This place is
mostly
cursed.
animal bones.
Yeah. This place is cursed.
I'm sticking with Kalen more because he's slow because I'm slow, but also to protect him if something jumps up and make our way towards the bones because I want to move the bones, but I kind of want to give them a proper.
Okay. There's hundreds and hundreds of bones. Which bones do you want to move?
Okay. I'm sorry.
Many stretches of the shore around this lake. There's bones lying there.
All right.
It's called Bone Lake.
Wow.
But none moving anymore.
Yeah.
It's.
So as I kind of creep up to this area, I'm gonna. My thing is, I want to look at what that skeleton dropped. See if I can see.
Okay. So it looks like an oversized ring at first, but you when you pick it up, you realize it was probably the bottleneck of a canteen, and there's like a little bit of leather still attached there where there was once a canteen.
Wow.
Nice. So I look at it and kind of disgust, and I just toss it aside.
Okay.
So is there anything in the water other than obviously some bones at the edge? And
the water isn't clear enough to see into. It looks very dusty. I don't want to say muddy because it doesn't have that color to it. It's more like white. It's more like white.
Yeah.
I don't know, silt floating in it.
I say, I kind of look at everyone there. I say, I probably don't have to say this, and don't take it as an insult, but don't drink it.
Are you sure that it's dangerous?
No, but I wouldn't bet my life on it unless I had absolutely no other choice. And since we are still carrying sufficient water on our camels, I wouldn't risk it. Not for.
Well, if Pei is willing to investigate, I mean, if she feels it's safe, I trust her.
I'm not completely sure if it's safe or not, but if we run out of water because we don't refill at lakes that we find, I would rather have extra water. Pei's going to do her best to try and determine if the water is dangerous. Maybe a nature roll, maybe Arcana. I don't know.
Well,
how are you going to do it, right? So nature and Arcana rolls and religion rolls, they're knowledge rolls. These are for things that you may have studied in the past. So how would you make the determination?
I'm going to see if I think that a bunch of bones falling in water, if that would cause the murkiness that we see.
It's possible.
To magic.
I'll tell you, it's possible.
I'll hunker down next to the water, and I'll take a little little cloth out of my pocket, and I'll sort of dip it into the water, and I'll smell it, maybe touch the tip a bit to my lip.
Have you ever smelled water that's stale? Like, you know what I mean? Like it almost has a dusty taste to it. I know that sounds weird.
Yeah.
It's water, but Do you know what I mean? Like it's like a glass of water that's been sitting on a table for 5 days, kind of thing. It's like it smells like that.
And like I say, I touch a little bit to my lip, see if there's any kind of tingling or burning or,
No tingling or burning, but maybe a slight metallic taste.
Mm.
And again, stale.
Yeah, okay.
I say,
spit it.
On the plains, we would boil water. Maybe it's possible we can fill some, canteens or water skins, and
Well, we do have empty containers, although I suggest we mark them well, and we don't use them again unless at the end of absolute need. While you're right, we can boil the water or filter it or do other things. These these creatures, these abominations that are here, and the bones speak of unwholesome things. I don't trust it, and I know I won't.
There are dozens and dozens and dozens of sets of bones.
Yeah, I would prefer none of it pass my lips unless I was close to death myself. So, we should we'll take some, and we can fill 2 of our. I'm gonna fill the containers on. We'll fill the containers on one of the camels that was emptied.
All right, and mark it accordingly. Big question mark.
Yeah.
Skull and crossbones.
Yeah.
Rob, I'm going to assume that there is a rib bone of perhaps a camel or something.
Sure.
That would be large enough to fit the girth of Ku, at least across the front. And,
sure.
All right, so I'm gonna pick that up and look at it and kind of hold it up to my gut a little bit and look at it, and after a minute I go, yes. And I will walk over and put it onto a camel.
Okay. In fact, I'll say you got enough of a selection that you can find one that seems to match your size and shape pretty well.
All right, yeah. So I will do so.
Okay. You now have a camel rib.
While since it seems they're going to take enough time for that, I'm going to pull one of my incense, and I'm going to find a flint and light it, and I want to try to walk the circumference of this small pond or whatever, and I'm just going to be saying a few prayers to the brother and sister for the souls of the people that died here.
And creatures.
Hoping that the sister ignores them and it doesn't see their souls, and that the brother takes them somewhere warm and light.
You said there was little lizards too, right?
Yeah, there's no living creatures. They were just the bones of many.
Seeing that Vicus intends to go around the lake, Hay is going to try and move ahead of him and kill all the lizards so that their souls can be released too.
Yeah, you just find like a couple of skeletal ones still moving, but plenty of dead ones.
Yeah, I'm just going to look for anything that's undead and kill it so that its soul can be released.
Yep. Fine. Good. You succeed. Okay. It's about 11:15, and I know Steve's tired, so I think we'll call it here for now at Bone Lake. You might, whatever conclusion you come to, Pay, it seems much more likely that you are where you think you are on your map, and that the old map was wrong.
All right.
But and not just a little off. Like, Christ Almighty! Like, these guys suck.
Yeah, stupid
Off.
fucking piece of shit adventurers can't make a decent map. I'm not surprised, honestly.
It's a good thing you're here. That's what I'm saying.
It's a damn good thing you're here.
All right. So we'll do this again in 2 weeks, everyone. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you then.
Yep.